Hey, someone actually called me and said it's time for me to tickle your brain, so here we go. Will humankind destroy itself? A Michio Kaku response. He has a YouTube video responding to this exact question, but I'm going to make a response to his video. The short answer is yes. The long answer is maybe. The real answer is we're already halfway there, clutching the detonator with one hand and a selfie stick with the other. Humanity's got this death wish baked into its circuitry, a species-wide auto-destruct button we can't stop pressing. Look, we built bombs before we built peace. We learned how to split atoms before we learned how to split bread fairly. And now we've got drones, algorithms, AI writing love songs while planning stock crashes, surveillance cameras blinking like new constellations. The tools we make outrun us. Fire becomes weapon. Data becomes leash. Technology is acceleration without brakes. Climate collapse, oceans acidifying, ice sheets bleeding into the sea. We knew decades ago, but we were too busy selling each other more plastic dreams. The earth will outlive us, sure, it's done it before, but us, we're pushing ourselves toward the cliff, all while arguing about who gets the best seat on the bus. Maybe it's learned helplessness on a planetary scale. We feel the shocks, droughts, fires, wars, but instead of leaping, we lie down. Pretend the cage is normal. Pretend the alarms are just background noise. The systems we built, economic, political, digital, all whisper. Don't resist, consume instead, and so we do. But then, but then, humans are absurd creatures. We paint while the bombs fall. We plant trees in deserts. We invent medicines out of mold. We resist, we rebel, we fall in love even when the world's on fire. Maybe that's the crack in the circuitry. Maybe survival isn't about stopping destruction entirely, but mutating through it, reshaping ourselves faster than the collapse can catch us. So, Michio, will humankind destroy itself? Yes, and also no. We're already destroying pieces of ourselves, forests, species, cultures, but extinction is not clean. It's messy, it's partial, it's patchwork. Some of us will go under, some of us will slip through. The question isn't will we destroy ourselves, it's which parts will survive the destruction and what monsters or miracles will we become. Now, I would like to read my entries on a show I watch that is free to watch on YouTube called Life After People by the History Channel. I will be talking about their episodes The Bodies Left Behind, Outbreak, The Capital Threat, Heavy Metal, The Invaders, Bound and Buried, Sin City Meltdown, Armed and Defenseless, Roads to Nowhere, Waters of Death, Wrath of God, Toxic Revenge, Crypt of Civilization, The Last Supper, Home Wrecked Homes, Holiday Hell, Waves of Devastation, Sky's the Limit, Depths of Destruction, and Take Me to Your Leader. So let's just get started. The bodies left behind. Imagine everybody's gone. Just gone. Poof. Vanished mid sentence, mid breath, mid scrolling, empty cars clogging motorways like fossilized ants, half buttered toast abandoned in kitchens, heart monitor still beeping for corpses no one comes to collect. The silence isn't silence, it's a pressure, a weight, the hum of machines winding down into nothing. The bodies. Oh Christ, the bodies. They bloat in armchairs on subway benches and glass towers with panoramic views of nothing. No funerals, no prayers, no embalming, just skin unzipping itself under the sun, organs liquefying into carpets, teeth grinning out of collapsed jaws, and then bones and then dust. It doesn't matter if you're a king or a clerk, nature runs the same tape for everybody. Without us, the lights sputter. Power grids choke. Pumps stop pushing water. Tunnels drown. Rats make an empire of subways. Wolves prowl the cul-de-sacs. Towers rust. Bridges buckle. Monuments crumble like stale bread. We thought steel was immortal, but it sweats, it rots, it falls. Libraries disintegrate. Books eaten by mold. Hard drives hemorrhaging memory until nothing but static remains. Our permanence was a hallucination. What's left behind? Not the songs, not the paintings, not the passwords. Within decades, they're mulch. Meaning requires mouths to speak it, eyes to see it, hands to point and say this matters. Without people, there is no important. The archive erases itself. And yet, in the cracks, in the silence, life, ivy strangling skyscrapers, foxes weaving through malls, roots splitting concrete like it was always meant to break. Forests rise from asphalt, rivers reclaim their beds. The air tastes different when nobody owns it. Earth breathes again, louder than we could ever do. The terror isn't just death, it's irrelevance. How quickly the body goes, how quickly the building crumbles, how quickly the name fades. The terror is knowing that the planet doesn't care, that it sings louder without us, and maybe that's the truth we've been avoiding. We were never permanent. We were noise, a flicker, a bright chemical rush in the bloodstream of the earth. Give me 1 second. Outbreak. Now, the History Channel calls it Outbreak, but it feels more like a fever dream spooling through static. The screen flickers, the city's empty, the rats inherit the escalators, no one's left to sell you anything. No more Bluetooth adverts drilling through your skull while you pretend to be alive on the train. Just silence, broken windows, vines clawing back the high rises like they've been waiting centuries. And we keep seeing masks. Paper masks, surgical masks, plague doctor beaks stuffed with herbs, twitching in the dust. It's not really about the virus, it's about the way absence tastes. The electricity falters after 48 hours. Your fridge gives up. Meat rots in the silence. Cats slip out of their apartments, feral in minutes, eyes glowing with headlights that no longer exist. The episode is a meditation on collapse dressed up like a documentary. The voiceover is calm, clinical, but you can feel it. They're secretly giddy about the end. In 3 weeks, the primates escape the labs. Yes, perfect, the monkey, the rhesus, clawing through your forgotten notebooks. Science dissolves into instinct. I imagine wandering through these post-human ruins with nose bleeding from too much powder, hearing phantom stadium chants from abandoned televisions, screens stuck forever on CNN emergency tickers. The virologists who once tried to save us are skeletons now, wearing ID badges that mean nothing. The microbes keep dancing, that's the punchline. The virus survives us, mutates without applause. What the episode teaches, if you peel back the fake objectivity, is that we've been temporary tenants all along. Every lock rusts, every light bulb burns out, your precious immune system just a timer. Outbreak is a horror story disguised as science, but it's also a lullaby. When we're gone, something stranger and wilder takes over. The earth doesn't care if we croak in our bunkers, it breathes easier. And the music I hear, and it isn't music at all, it's wind shrieking through subway tunnels, cicadas tearing open their bodies every 17 years, dogs howling for masters who will never come back. A symphony of absence. The episode keeps insisting on facts, but what I felt was more like prophecy. I apologize if you can hear my neighbor's chickens. They're right next door. So you sit there sweating, pupils wide, and you think maybe this is the truth television always wanted to tell. Not about us, about what comes after, about how fragile, how laughably fragile the whole show has been. One sneeze, one drip of snot, and it's curtains, and then the rats inherit the escalators again. The capital threat. The capital, they say, is a symbol. Marble, stone, steel, but mostly echoes now. Echoes of speeches, of footsteps, of sooths, moving like insects over the marble floors. The capital threat shows what happens when humans vanish and suddenly the monuments we made to ourselves become monuments to entropy. The wind whistles through the dome, pigeons colonize the galleries, and the electrical grid is just a memory. They talk about decay in measured terms weeks, months, years, but that is wrong. Decay doesn't follow a calendar, it's impatient, it's a virus in slow motion. Water seeps through the cracks, the rot begins in the timbers, and the capital, our proud shining symbol of democracy, is a sponge for everything we ever thought we controlled. I can't stop imagining the squirrels. They're running across the Senate chamber, tiny furry legislators. The documents in the archives curl up into dust like dead leaves. The paintings watch, silently judging, and the microphones, still perched in rows, still tuned to nothing, broadcasting silence that hums in the brain. The episode is clinical, but there's a thrill under it, a sense that nature is mischievous, triumphant, laughing at the hubris of humans. Security systems fail, statues topple, the rot spreads like a disease faster than any virus we've ever contained. Even the monuments we thought eternal bend under time's hand. What chills me most is the suggestion of inevitability. The capital was designed to last, to symbolize power, to survive generations, but life after people whispers that the strongest symbol is still weaker than a seed in the sidewalk, a root in the foundation, a breeze shaking the dome until it collapses. All that pomp, all that history swallowed by the quiet patience of entropy. The music I hear in this destruction isn't music at all, it's the groan of settling stone. The hiss of rust, the soft scuttle of rodents, it's beautiful in a horrible, thrilling way. Watching it, you realize we are temporary tenants. Again, the capital, the nation, the planet, they will continue without us. And maybe if we were here to see it, we'd be frightened not by the threat of death, but by the thrill of absence, the ecstasy of leaving no trace at all. And in the silence, the squirrels begin to legislate. This is a really good show, by the way. I am going to put a link in the description to the playlist that involves all episodes I'm describing in this here video. Heavy metal. Not the music, the metal, the steel beams, the car frames, the girders. The episode says it's about infrastructure, about how metal corrodes, but that's just the surface. The metal is alive, not alive in the way humans imagine life. No heartbeat, no breath, but alive in the slow, unstoppable way of entropy gnawing through our civilization. I can see it. The skyscrapers bending, sagging, 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 bridges twisting, snapping like brittle bones, collapsing into rivers like metal carcasses, cars rusting, engines screaming in silence, the highways stretch into nothing, overgrown, cracked, a jungle of asphalt veins feeding the city back to the earth. Every bolt loosens, feeding. Oop. Every bolt loosens, every weld fractures, every tower leans like it's whispering to the sky. We don't need them. And the beauty is horrible. The show is clinical, talking about oxidation and structural failure, but it misses the poetry. The beams buckle and shiver like metal insects. The towers sway like drunk gods. The rust blooms like coral in slow motion. It's a cathedral of decay. The metal sings and the song is terrifying. You hear it in the wind, in the snapping of cables, and the collapse of a rooftop tank into empty streets. The humans are gone, and the metal knows. It knows it can breathe now. It can twist and warp and fall without consequence, and yet it resists too. Bridges hold a little longer than logic says they should. Cranes sway, refusing to kiss the asphalt. The rust is patient, yes, but not cruel. It is inevitable. It is the purest form of time. I imagine wandering through the ruins, high on something sharp and fast, listening to the metal groan. Car hoods twitch like trapped animals, streetlights long dead rattle in the breeze, and all of it, every piece of steel humanity worshipped, every piece of technology we thought eternal, is just temporary scaffolding in a world that doesn't care, and never has. The episode calls it heavy metal, but it's really about hubris, about the quiet humiliation of all our grand designs. Nature is slow and patient. Metal, once proud, becomes fragile, and in that fragility, in that long, agonizing collapse, there is a music more beautiful than any human symphony. We built it to last, and it won't, and the world doesn't seem to notice. The invaders. They call them the invaders, not aliens, not soldiers, just creatures. Animals we never notice, now crawling into the spaces we once claimed. The episode says it's about how quickly nature fills the void, how rats, birds, insects, and feral predators take over when humans vanish. But watching it, I feel like it's a warning, not about animals, about us, about the hubris of thinking the planet is ours. Pigeons swarming the Senate chamber, squirrels in the Oval Office, raccoons rifling through the White House kitchen like tiny anarchists, coyotes in the subway tunnels, foxes in the parks, snakes in the gutters. They are patient, and patient is lethal. They spread, mutate, push through our defenses we never noticed. The fences, the walls, the rules we built. The invaders are beautiful in a horrific way. You see a rat gnawing through a computer wire, and it's poetry. Electricity fails, sirens die, and the hum of the city becomes a memory. And in that silence, nature performs a symphony. The animals take over not violently, but insistently, calmly, like a tide reclaiming the sand. The episode calls it invasion, but it's reclamation. I think of humans as ghosts wandering the ruins we left. We are the noise that vanished, and they are the music left behind. Birds in the Senate chamber sing in harmonies that we will never understand. Rodents gnawing through the foundations of skyscrapers make patterns like coded messages. The city becomes a living organism with teeth and claws and wings, no longer ours, but theirs. The invaders teach patience. They teach inevitability. We were temporary tenants, loud, destructive, unaware of the quiet armies waiting to inherit our empire. Watching it makes my skin tingle. The thrill of absence, the ecstasy of watching a world keep moving without human logic, without human ego. And I imagine standing on a collapsed highway watching a fox slip past a fallen streetlight, hearing the city breathe for the first time. Not humans, not control, just life, insistently, impossibly, taking back what we once pretended we owned. The invaders don't need us, they never did, and that is terrifying and majestical. Bound and buried. Graveyards, cemeteries, mausoleums. They call it bound and buried, but it's not about death, not really. It's about the absurd permanence we try to grasp and how fragile it really is. The episode shows us headstones tilting, crypts cracking, vaults flooding, stone monuments meant to defy time, to hold memory, to keep the dead safe, already bending under gravity, water, and the relentless patience of nature. I imagine walking among them, high and jittery, bones under my feet, marble crumbling in my hands. The inscriptions fade, letters dissolve like sugar in rain. The coffins rot, wood curling, metal rusting, and everything we thought eternal sinks back into the earth. The trees grow through the mausoleums, roots prying the dead open, slowly, insistently. Even in death, entropy has no mercy. The episode is clinical, talking about rates of decay, soil acidity, structural failure, but that's boring. The poetry is in the collapse, and the slow unraveling of our attempts to cheat oblivion. The cemetery becomes a theater of ruin. Gravestones lean like drunk sentinels, iron gates twist into impossible shapes, mausoleums collapse with quiet inevitability, and the silence hums in your ears louder than any funeral bell. I think of the people buried there. The monuments were for them, but the people are gone, and the monuments are failing, and the world moves on without notice, without remorse. The dead, the living, they both vanish, leaving only decay and wind. The crows laugh, the roots consume, water seeps, and still there is rhythm in it, a terrible music that no orchestra could play. Bound and buried, we thought we could resist the earth. We thought we could make permanence, but permanence is a joke. The episode whispers that nothing lasts, not even memory, not even stone. The cemetery becomes a wild, crawling thing, reclaiming itself with patience that we cannot comprehend. And I walk through it, heart racing, imagining the grave markers switching in the wind, imagining the bones sighing beneath, imagining the earth folding itself back over us. The world doesn't care, the dead don't care. Only entropy cares, and it hums and it waits, and it is beautiful. We are temporary tenants, even after death. The earth always, always wins. Alright, if you're bearing with me here, we have a few more, and I'm having a blast shooting this, so I hope you guys are enjoying this as well. Sin City Meltdown, Las Vegas, neon veins, glittering deserts, hollow temples to greed. Sin City, they call it, that like it's a joke, but after people vanish, the joke dies first, and fast. The episode Sin City Meltdown shows us the collapse not of humans, but of our obsessions, our shiny towers of illusion. Strip bends, tilts, sags, hotels crumble like giant teeth, casinos split open, spilling chips into the wind, scattering them across the asphalt like tiny meaningless stars. The electrical grid fails, and suddenly all that neon is dark. The hum stops, the air tastes different, dusty, hot, metallic. The fountains fail, the Bellagio is a dry carcass. The Eiffel Tower of the Paris casino leans like a drunk monument to our absurd vanity. The episode is clinical, but it's wrong. It's a fever, a hallucination of ruin, a cathedral of collapse. I imagine wandering through it, the wind rattling in the broken slot machines. The security cameras are dead, but I swear they blink. The statues of gold and marble watch like bored gods, waiting for the slow demolition of everything they were built to celebrate. And the desert creeps in, relentless. The sand is patient. The wind is patient. Nothing human survives except as dust and memory. The casinos collapse not with violence, but with inevitability. Steel bends, glass fractures, concrete swallows itself. And the music of it, the scraping, the groaning, subtle drip of water through cracked plumbing, is more beautiful than any song we ever made. It is the soundtrack of our hubris. I think of the people who built it, who gambled, who clutched, fleeting with wealth in their hands. Gone, and yet the city keeps some memory, like an old tape playing faintly in a ruined hotel room. The strip is quiet now, but it hums with absence. The humans are ghosts, but the city is alive. Not alive like us, alive like a fever, like metal twisting, like concrete sighing, like neon dreaming of fire. Sin City melts down, and in the meltdown there's poetry. There is terror, there's truth. We are nothing. The city laughs in our absence. The desert reclaims. The wind whispers, and the neon dies flicker by flicker. And in that silence, I realize we never owned anything. The strip belongs to the wind. The strip belongs to entropy, and the strip belongs to no one at all. Armed and defenseless. Weapons, guns, ammunition, armories, they call it armed and defenseless, but the irony is already in the title. Humans built these machines to feel safe, to control, to dominate, but they vanish, poof. And the guns, the tanks, the stockpiles, nothing protects you from absence, nothing saves you from time. The episode shows us the inevitability of failure. Ammunition rusts, gunpowder absorbs moisture, steel barrels corrode, armories rot from the inside out, the walls crumble, the locks rust, security measures meant to repel, chaos collapse silently, mechanically, beautifully. We built fortresses, but time is keys we cannot pick. I imagine wandering through these forgotten arsenals. The crates creak, the rifles lie like dormant serpents, whispering threats that mean nothing, explosive decade ticking without purpose. Think of the humans who once held these I think of the humans who once held these weapons in trembling hands, hearts pounding, imagining themselves divine, gone in the weapons heavy and useless argos of that hubris. There is poetry in it. The military complexes become tombs of our own insecurity. The fences sag, the watchtowers tilt, nature seeps in, moss crawls across the concrete, vines strangle the gates, birds perch in sniper nests, and the silence, the goddamn silence, hums like a warning louder than any gunshot. We were armed and yet defenseless, not against each other, not against invaders, not against riots, not against death. We were defenseless against time, against entropy, against the universe shrugging. And the episode whispers it softly, clinically, but you can feel it in your bones. All the machinery of power, all the instruments of fear are temporary tenants in a world that doesn't care. And the best part, the terrifying part, is that the weapons outlast the humans just long enough to mock them. Rusted rifles lean against collapsing walls, ammunition hiss, as, hiss as it corrodes. Tanks tilt like fallen gods, all built to protect, all now powerless. Armed and defenseless, armed and defenseless, that's the truth. The humans are gone, and the machines meant to save us only mark our absence, and in that absence, the world breathes again. Roads to nowhere. Highways, streets, freeways, they call them roads once. Arteries of our civilization, veins pumping commerce and traffic through the nation. Roads to nowhere, that's the joke, because the people are gone and suddenly every asphalt ribbon is meaningless. Every painted line, every street light, every exit sign becomes a relic, a marker of absence. I imagine driving or trying to drive through them. The cracks are huge, fissures swallowing lanes whole, concrete buckles like old skin, overpasses sag, twists, collapse. Nature seeps in patiently, invisibly, grass bursts through seams, roots pry the asphalt like persistent termites, trees push against guardrails, vines strangle bridges. The highways are alive, but not with humans. They move with entropy, with wind, with decay. The episode is clinical, of course. Engineers explain collapsed timelines, traffic patterns, structural failures, but the real music is in the chaos. The concrete groans, the streetlights flicker like dying fireflies, cars rust in the median, engines frozen, tires splitting, and yet the silence is louder than any honk, louder than any siren. The silence hums like a warning you were temporary, everything else keeps going. I think about the people who drove those roads, the exhaust, the endless motion, the hubris of believing we could taint the land with blacktop. Gone, and the roads themselves, they are monuments to nothing, to emptiness. They lead nowhere now, but they are spectacular in their futility. A bridge leans into a river like a drunk colossus. A tunnel floods, swallowing itself. Even the tunnels remember us, but only to mock us. And the beauty, the horrifying beauty, is everywhere. Rust blooms, asphalt cracks, blossom into patterns like veins. Shadows of dead signage stretch long across broken lanes. The wind whistles through overpasses. Birds perch in collapsed guardrails like monks in abandoned cathedrals, and in all of it you realize the world does not need humans. The roads do not need us. We built them to move. Now they move in entropy, us in decay and silence, without us. Roads to nowhere. We were temporary tenants. The asphalt laughs, the concrete bends, the wind hums, and everything keeps going. The show must go on. Waters of death. Water everywhere, oceans, rivers, reservoirs, sewers, filling the empty spaces we left behind. Waters of death, they call it that like it's a warning, but it's a celebration. The episode shows what happens when humans vanish and water reclaims its territory, but it's more than that. Water doesn't just reclaim, it mutates, corrodes, devours. I can see it, I can picture it. New Orleans under inches, feet, meters of slow moving apocalypse. Flooded streets, swallowing cars, crumbling houses, churches tilting into currents like broken teeth. The Mississippi spills into everything, patient, unstoppable, silent. The dams we built fail, not all at once, but with a quiet inevitability. Reservoirs rupture, water finds the cracks we never noticed. The episode explains it clinically with charts and timelines, but reality is feverish, chaotic, and beautiful. The music in the destruction isn't music at all, it's the hiss of water through collapsed buildings, the groan of timbers bending, the subtle drum of currents and sewer tunnels. The fish swam in city halls, algae carpets playgrounds. Rust blooms in the flooded basements like coral, and the humans gone. No one to fix the levees, no one to pump the water, no one to cry. I imagine standing on a rooftop, wind whipping, rain pounding, watching the world turn into canals, boats drifting through abandoned streets, electrical wires sagging into the currents, sparks fizzing. Everything we built to last, the infrastructure, the monuments, the homes we thought we tamed water. But water always wins, always, patiently, quietly, and mercilessly. The horror is also ecstasy, watching humanity vanish beneath the waves, imagining the silence of drowned highways and submerged parks, feeling the slow, inevitable dissolution of our arrogance, Floodwaters erase history faster than fire, faster than wind. Everything is liquefied, everything is mutable, everything is eventually gone. Waters of death, not a threat, a prophecy. We leave, the water comes, and in the wet, humming, lapping silence, the world will be able to breathe.